Hello, welcome. Thank you so very much for clicking on today's video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys every single book that I have on my physical TBR. This will be my third time in a row making this video. The past 2 years, in August to be specific, I have been sitting down and making a video sharing with you guys all the unread books that I have. And unfortunately, I still haven't made a dent into my physical TBR. It's a little embarrassing because every single year, like, I am determined that I will make a dent, and it hasn't really felt like I've been trying up until the past like 6 months. Like specifically in 2025, I have really changed my buying habits, and that leads me to something that I really want to talk about before getting into today's video. In the beginning of my reading journey, I became super excited with reading and the fact that I found a hobby that I'm just completely obsessed with, and I am so happy that I'm here 3 years later just still as obsessed with reading books, if not more. But in the very beginning of my reading journey, I was just buying books whenever I wanted, and it led me to having over 100 unread books on my shelf. And I don't like the fact that I let myself do that. I wish I had more self-control, and unfortunately I'm just now learning how to have that self-control. I can now go into book aisles and bookstores and leave without buying a single book, and before I would tell myself I was gonna buy 1, 2, and I left with 5. I do not want to feed into that narrative that you need to have a ton of unread books on your shelf, that you need to buy all of these special editions, that you aren't a good enough reader if you don't have all of these books on your shelf, or if you don't have a TBR cart, or if you don't have these beautiful editions. I do not want you to take this video as a form of me feeding into that overconsumption, even though I was, and I'm working on not doing anymore. I love making like unboxing videos and hauls on my like short form content and in my YouTube videos, but I am really realizing that like this can be a really big problem that I'm feeding into. But I just am being really mindful of the videos that I'm making, and I really hope that I'm not straying away from the actual love of reading and just making it to where like buying and overconsumption is a good thing. I, for 3 reasons, am making this video, because 1, I love watching these videos. I love seeing all the books people have on their physical TBR. I feel like it's just so fun to see what unread books people have and like what books they're excited for. It gives you recommendations for new books. 2, I love making book content. I have over 100 bookish videos on my channel. It just brings me so much joy. It is one of the biggest joys that I have in my life. Oh, and 3rd, this is also a form of like a video diary to myself, or just like a way to see my progress throughout the years. So far, I haven't been making the biggest progress, but I'm really hoping that within the next like 2 years or however long it takes, and just see like the huge progress throughout the years and the improvement that I've had with my book spending, my book habits, and I feel like it would just be really cool to see the progress that I've made. Without further ado, let's get into today's video. First and foremost, I want to show you guys a little overview of what we're looking at. If you're curious as to where I got my bookshelves, I got them from IKEA. These are the classic Billy bookshelves. They are so affordable, so easy to build, and they're really easy to extend. I can get an entire new shelf on the very top, and I feel like you can like build these into your home, like make it into like a built-in bookshelves. Like, I feel like they're so versatile. I love them. Let's get started. We're gonna start with the very top left. So the very first unread book that I have on here is Addicted to You by Krista and Rebecca Ritchie. Get a Life, Chloe Brown. We have underneath The Sycamore Tree, Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice. Red, White, and Royal Blue, Magnolia Parks, Blame It on the Mistletoe, The Summer of Broken Rules. This is a book that I really hope that I read before the end of the year. And then I have Holding the Reins, which is of course a cowboy romance, and I am obsessed with that genre. I got this beautiful book from Bad Woman Books. They are a small business that specializes in special editions, and I am obsessed with that. Love in the Time of Serial Killers, and My Roommate is a Vampire. And the last one unread on the very top shelf is You Deserve Each Other. Then the first unread book on the second shelf is Before We Were Strangers, 8 Perfect Hours, Just My Type, The Kiss Curse, The Christmas Cafe, The X Vows. Then we got Done and Dusted, Anna Takes Manhattan, Maggie Moves On, Out of the Woods, 7 Days in June, and The Christmas Wish. Now to the third shelf here. This is where I have majority of my young adult books. I am obsessed with YA. I love them so much. So a lot of these books, proudly, I'm tapping myself on the back right now, but you can't see me, is a lot of these books are read. So I was gonna like toot my own horn, but then I remembered how much I do have on my physical TBR, so I'm not gonna do that. This is my favorite graphic novel series ever. I mean, the only graphic novel series I've ever read, so if you do have more recommendations, please let me know. I love the Heartstopper series. I love Jenny Han with my whole freaking heart. Mary Jane, this is one of my favorite books ever. I am obsessed. As you can see, like a lot of the books that I love so much are YA. It also just feels wrong to not talk about A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This is a young adult mystery thriller series. I am obsessed with this series. The very first unread book that I have on this shelf is The Final Gambit, and this is actually a book that I'm currently reading, but I put it on the shelf for just like today's video purposes. Every Last Word, and I have Catching Fire and Mockingjay. The Hunger Games, oh my gosh, the first one, I just read it. 5-star book. Now to the fourth shelf, but this is where I started to organize just like all of the same authors and all of like the books that are in a series. So the very first one is the Off-Campus series. This is a series that I have been contemplating on unhauling, unfortunately. I have read the first 3. The only 2 that I have left is The Goal and The Legacy, and I don't know, man. I just haven't had any drive to read this series or to like continue. I really liked The Deal, but then it just got worse by the second 2. Then I got the Cherry Tree Harbor series by Melanie Harlow. I have Runaway Love, Hideaway Heart, Make Believe Match, Small Town Swoon, and Slapshot Surprise. These books look so stinking cute. I have a feeling that I'm going to be kickling. That's me saying giggling and kicking my feet. Kickling. I have a feeling that these are gonna make me like blush. They just sound so freaking cute. We got like Bodyguard, Brother's Best Friend. We got like such cute tropes. I think there's like one of them is like One of Us is Famous. Like all of these tropes sound so good. I'm so excited to dive into this universe and start these books. And then we got Things We Left Behind, Mr. Fixer Upper, The Christmas Fix. This is all from Lucy Score. I really like her writing. And then I also have When in Rome and Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams, and then all the other ones I have read. Now continuing on with romance series or just books that I have from the same author. The very first series here is the Twist series by Anna Hong. We have Twisted Love, Twisted Games, Twisted Hate, and Twisted Lies. Then I have a few books from Allie Hazelwood. I have Love on the Brain, Love Theoretically, Loath to Love You, Deep End, and Check and Mate. I have The American Roommate Experiment, The Fine Print, and Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. I have Part of Your World and Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I haven't read a single Abby Jimenez book yet, especially because I'm a romance lover. And the fact that I haven't read a single one of her books, I know I sound like a broken record, but I really hope that I read this book before the end of the year. Now to the very last shelf. On the first bookshelf, I have some of my hardcover romance books. We have The Best Hex Ever, and so the first and I think only Emily Henry book that I have unread on my shelf is Funny Story. And then this like bothers my like, I don't know if it's OCD, but I hate that I have only one Afterlife book down here, but it's because the shelf on the middle shelf is full. So I feel like she's lonely over here. She's not with her other friends. We got One Last Shot. Now to the second shelf. This is where I display almost all of my special editions. On the very top here, I have the Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hates series by Jessa Hastings. We have Magnolia Parks, Daisy Hates, Magnolia Parks, A Long Way Home, Daisy Hates, The Great Undoing, and Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. And the reason that I bought the entire series all at once is because I found a online bookstore in the UK that was still selling the OG editions of these books, and I really like these editions, partly because they're just like the OG, but also because they're so like abstract and different to any other book covers I have seen. I don't know if they're still selling the original covers in the UK. I feel like they still are. I think it was just in the US they switched them. Actually, I have no idea. But with that knowledge, since I didn't know if they were going to stop, I just went ahead and ordered the entire series just in case if they ever stopped printing them. Now let's go down to my Afterlife books. The very first book is Flirting Lessons, Make the Season Bright, Fan Service. Then this is the newest book. Oh my gosh, look at those bright edges. We got Love is a War Song. This is the book that I got for August. I Did Something Bad, The Kiss Countdown, Any Trope But You, and the last one, Love in Focus. Then to the last shelf that I'll be talking about, because the very bottom shelf, I've read both of these. So the very first unread book that I have on the shelf here is Hopeless by Elsie Silver. I am obsessed with the Chestnut Spring series. It is 100% one of my favorite series I have ever read, especially because Heartless is one of my favorite romance books ever. If not, like, it's my most favorite romance book. And then the other book that I have unread is Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. This is the second book in the Rose Hill. And then I have the very first book in that series, Wild Love. This is Elsie Silver's newest released series, and I really hope that after I read Hopeless I jump into this series, because I have a lot of high hopes considering that this is like a 5-star series for me. I have a lot of high hopes for this one. Now to the third and last shelf here. This is where I have all of my fantasy, general fiction, and then spooky books. Then to the very first unread books on the top shelf here, I have the last 3 in the Harry Potter series, which is Order of the Phoenix, The Half-Blood Prince, and The Deathly Hallows. I've been having such a good time with this series, like specifically these two. 5-star reads for me. I love them so much, and I am so excited to continue on with the last 3. Then I have still, unfortunately, the entire Shatter Me series. I have been thinking about this series so much recently because I really have been getting an itch to start this series. We got book 1, which is Shatter Me. Then we have Unravel Me, Ignite Me, Restore Me, Defy Me, Imagine Me. And then we have the last 3 novellas, which is Unite Me, Find Me, and Believe Me. This is a YA dystopian series that I really hope that I love and literally just can't put down. Like, I have really high hopes for that series. And then we have the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy by Stephanie Garber. So we have the first one, Once Upon a Broken Heart, A Curse for True Love, The Ballad of Never After. And then the very last unread book that I have on the shelf here is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Then on the second shelf we have Iron Flame. I'm actually currently listening to this one right now, so I am working on this one. And then we have the third book and the final one that's out in this series currently, which is Onyx Storm. And then I have 2 copies of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. And then I have Heartless Hunter. I really hope that I read this book this month. I was able to choose this book for my TBR jar picks, and so I hope that I read this month. The next book on here is The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Durst. I read The Spell Shop earlier this year, and this is easily one of my most favorite books ever now. Like a 6-star read for me. And this is the second book. It's not necessarily a part of a series. You can read both of them as standalones, but this book does have a lot to do with the main side character that's in this book, which is Kaz. He is a walking, talking spider plant. I'm obsessed with him, and this is the story about him and how he was created. The next one is Under the Whispering Door. I have The Cruel Prince, Legends and Lattes, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I also have these 3 Not because I bought them, but because I got sent them to me on accident by Target. I made a purchase on Target a few months ago. I was buying the special Knockmount series books, and these 3 books came in that box, and I didn't buy them. I didn't get rid of them because I had already had the first book, and so I have like some inkling to read the series, but when I tell you, I am petrified of that series. When I tell you, I've had friends, I've had coworkers, I hear people on the internet, like, this series has taken over, Sarah J Maas has taken over the internet. Like, I'm a book girly. I love books. What can I say? I want to read it, but I am scared. Then onto the 3rd shelf here. And this is actually a book that I'm currently reading right now. Project Hail Mary. I have 1,000 Splendid Suns, The Book Thief, The Kite Runner, The Martian, Where the Crawdads Sing, The Diary of a Young Girl, and Frank, A Little Life. I take it back. That's the book I'm most petrified to read. And then the last 3 I have read. On to the 4th shelf. Look at this beautiful gift one of my best friends gave me. Yeah, she made me my own YouTube plaque. How freaking cute. This is such a sentimental gift for me. This felt like a pat on the back for all of my accomplishments that I made with YouTube. Even though they're small, it is still something that I need to celebrate. The first unread book that I have on this shelf is Beartown. I have How to Stop Time, The Tatami Galaxy, Everything I Know About Love, The Song of Achilles, and the rest I have read. Now to the second to last bookshelf here. This is where I have almost all of my spooky, scary, psychological thriller books. And I am proud to say all of these are read, but never lie. Then I have Bunny. This is supposed to be a really creepy book, and I hope I read it this fall because the amount of times that I've had this on my fall TBR is embarrassing. And then I have 2 books by Stuart Turton. I have The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle and The Last Murder at the End of the World. And then we got The Sundown Motel. Now to the very last shelf here. This is where I have the rest of my hardcover books. The first unread book is Hidden Pictures. Carrie Soto is back. Interesting facts about space, tomb sweeping, Crying in H Mart, and the last book on my physical TBR is The Notebook because I love that movie. That is every single unread book that I have on my physical TBR, and I have exactly 124 unread books on my shelf. I really hope that by next year I have made a dent because the past 2 years, the past 3 years I haven't, and I'm a bit embarrassed. I am. Anyways, I hope that you had fun watching today's video. I had a lot of fun doing it. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.